Charleston celebrates its 350th anniversary this year, and to commemorate that, Charleston Pirate Tours brings you Charleston History Highlights. Hi, I'm Eric with Charleston Pirate Tours. We're going to continue on our little discussion today of Blackbeard and Stede Bonnet. This was not exactly a marriage made in heaven, to say the least. So they leave out of Nassau, heading north, sailing up the coast, and end up as far as the Delaware Cape. Now at this point, Blackbeard was an angry man. Why was he so angry? That is because one of his very best friends from the flying gang days, Mr. Sam Bellamy, better known as Black Sam Bellamy, well, he had a ship named Witta that was caught in a nasty nor'easter and wrecked on Cape Cod and was drowned in the wreck. And his men were captured, dragged into the streets of Boston, where they were eventually hanged. Well, this set Blackbeard on a tear because he was good friends with these people. So when he got to the Delaware Cape, he basically grabbed around 17 ships out there, and in the process stole a few things, but most of the stuff he just trashed and threw overboard. He just completely destroyed these ships. And one of the ships managed to make it into Philadelphia and told the governor what had taken place. Well, he was not a happy man. Well, by this point, Blackbeard has turned and headed south because it's October. Nobody wants to be too far north when the weather gets cold. So they now head south and end up down near Barbados. Well, now when they end up off the coast of Barbados, what's Stede Bonnet's first thought? He's going to leave me here to face down my nagging wife. Well, that wasn't the case, because as Blackbeard had left North Carolina, he was given a shopping list from the governor. He didn't want him to get into problems with the Spanish down off the coast of Florida. He had said, if you find a few of these things, bring them back as well, because we can certainly use them. The number one thing on that list, slaves. So, on the 17th of November in 1717, Blackbeard grabbed a ship named Le Concorde, the biggest prize he ever took. He grabbed this man of war near the coast of Barbados, took it to an uninhabited island. It was said to be carrying approximately 480 Africans being sailed this way to be sold into slavery. So he took it to an uninhabited island, took 60 of the best that were in the crowd, set them aside and said, we'll take those home with us. The rest, he offered them a job. Do you want to be part of the crew? We'd love to have you. And the ones that he did not keep, and the French crew that didn't want to sail with him, he frankly left them on that uninhabited island near Barbados. He took the vessel, rearmed it with 40 guns, and gave it a brand new name, Queen Anne's Revenge. So now he's got his big flagship. Bonnet now has his ship back, and Blackbeard assured him, I'll leave some men over there to show you what to do. So now they start heading across the Caribbean, trying to work their way back home with the most prized possession he could take back, these Africans. So now they're heading home, but as they're crossing the Caribbean, they hear about something. King George has issued a royal proclamation stating they could receive the king's pardon, his act of grace, if they would be willing to surrender. So he knows that they have already, though, violated the conditions, because they were only allowed to have not attacked the ship after the 5th of January. Of course, now it's much past that date. So he said, our only hope, gentlemen, is to get back home to my neighbor, the governor, because he sent me out to begin with. We can get that pardon and keep it all. So instead they come through the Caribbean and end up in the Bay of Honduras by the spring of 1718 to careen the ships and clean them up. And that is when another ship came along named Adventure. It was captained by David Harriet. Harriet saw these 3 ships sitting there in the Bay Islands and thought they were people he knew. So he sailed into their midst, and Blackbeard looked and thought, well, look what fell in our lap. So he took his ship, put David Harriet on Bonnet's ship to help show him what to do, and he put Israel Hands in charge of that vessel. So now Blackbeard has 4 ships and approximately 700 men under his command. But folks, that's way too many men. He can't split up this plunder with that many men. So he conspired with 2 of his favorite crew of how they were going to fix this problem. When they leave the Bay Islands, they go straight to Nassau. He convinced 300 men to go ashore to get provisions. And when those men left the ship, he weighed anchor and took off and left them, cutting his numbers to 400. And now as they're heading north, well, they've got a big problem they've got to solve. And it's much bigger than 400 men. I'm Eric with Charleston Pirate Tours. Happy birthday, Charleston.